real quick.
All righty. All right, we are live. Hello, everybody. Thank you for those of you who are joining us live. Thank you for those of you who are watching this after the live. I do want to tell you that we have a little bit of I think it might be the internet on my end is a little hiccupy right now, so there seems to be a lag on and off. So if Jonathan or I end up cutting each other off while we're talking, it is because of the internet lag and not because we were intentionally trying to cut each other off. So I'm excited. Jonathan is in the mastermind with me. He is another one of the great people that I met via the mastermind, and we've had an opportunity to have some conversations in person, some conversations on the phone. He's an idea guy. He's constantly got ideas coming up and looking for ways to help people and make people's businesses more efficient. And so he's got something he's working on right now. We'll chat a little bit about that, and we'll do what we always do, which is just have a conversation and let everybody kind of listen in. So with that said, I'm going to let Jonathan introduce himself, tell everybody who he is.
Great. Well, thank you, Deborah, so much. Honestly, it's people like you that allow us to connect together and just really just get our message out to the world and what we're trying to do and just make it a better place. So I am stationed out here in Washington, D.C. For now. And I moved into kind of the digital marketing landscape because I saw just this huge need of business owners. Previously, I was working on just connecting business owners to finding funding sources and helping them get access to lending or investment options, franchising, and the solution packages to create that happen. And I noticed a huge deficit in the marketing component of what we were doing to help our business owners just stay relevant. And there's so many changes these days out there. And with AI, it just takes it to a whole new level as far as what business owners need to be doing to stay positive, relevant, and then just in touch with their customers. And then is the messaging even there? And that's one of the big things that I've noticed, that our messaging isn't even meeting what the customers are wanting to see. And kind of wanted to help utilize AI to help the business owner who's good at their craft apply that towards keeping a modern presence and just staying relevant with their customers.
Yeah, I love it. And, the messaging piece, I want to talk about that specifically because I think, you hear that a lot. And now with the advent of all these tools that people are really excited because they're like, oh, I'm going to be able to put in what I want to do and it's going to generate for me exactly what I want to say. But the reality is any of those tools, and whether you're using your own words or whether you're using an AI tool to create those words, can't be generated and created until you understand yourself and why you do what you do before you can even start figuring out who your audience is and how you want to speak to where they're at. You have to kind of identify who you are and what matters to you. And, noting what you just said about really wanting to help businesses connect with their financial resources and be able to be productive, what makes you passionate about that? Because that's why you do it, right? What makes you interested in that?
Yeah, so I'll tie on. I want to visit the latter component in a second if I was creating that branding image, because that is what's most important. But really, I just have a passion for people. I've had, over these last years, have been really blessed to just connect thousands and thousands of business owners with each other, whether that's someone that needs a solution for something simple or something complex like going public with the company. And in that realm, I've just noticed that there's two different groups of people when it comes to service. There's people who are in it for themselves, and there's people who are in it for the people that they want to serve. And that really became my mission and passion, was just to really partner with and provide referrals to businesses that prioritize people over profits. Because if you take care of people, your profits will come. And at the end of the day, it's the people that are going to be helping you sustain your business. And so cutting shortcuts isn't going to do anything good. And after last year, when we were circumvented multiple times, and I'm saying like life-changing circumventions, I really became passionate about pressing forward with strictly partnering with organizations that are just not greed-driven.
Right. So in other words, you're kind of looking to help people avoid what happened to you in terms of, recommendations and stuff. And Absolutely. It is tough because sometimes, too, people will say something to you and they'll recommend or refer somebody to you, and it's well-intentioned, right? The person that's doing the referring believes that that business or that person is going to be the best fit for you and is going to be able to move you forward, and then circumstances unfold. So I know a lot of what you're doing is helping with that vetting process into ensuring that the people that make it on the list of people that get recommended are people that are going to stick to those ethics, which, as you know, is something that's really valuable to me as well, right? I constantly kind of have a list in my mind of, here's some folks I know are really going to get the job done, and they're going to care about people. What are some of the steps that you're taking to start moving that forward? Because I've been watching on social media as you've been shifting and pivoting, because you've always had that same main idea, but you've kind of adjusted how you were going to roll it out.
Yeah.
So what are some of the big things you're working on right now?
Well, so that's been the main component, is really prioritizing the people over profits component of that and how we can phase that out. And there's some other companies out there that are really starting to do portions of that, and kind of creating a collective ecosystem is what, I wanted to do. And really what the transition period has been recently is, in any major breakthrough in technology, whether it's from, the initial industrial revolution way back in the 1100s all the way up to now, there's a cycle of 50 to 70 years that really takes place of innovation and stuff. And I think that AI is a super cycle of its own. And so we're kind of approaching the peak of the super cycle of what regular information technology would be. But AI has added a whole other element to that. And so I'm forward thinking into now, a few years down the road, creating basically the infrastructure for the rest of the world to catch up to what AI will be at when they need the apps and the components and the specific things versus the hardware. Right now, people are chasing the hardware, the NVIDIA, how we can become the processors, how we can create the equipment to process it. I'm chasing the end result of creating the apps and the solutions for people for when the technology catches up. People are going to already have a resource available for them to do anything from digital marketing to domain creation to website creation to just brand imaging, identifying your brand, and really tying it down to what today's website cycle is. In today's websites, we want to connect with our customers. Our customers want to connect with us. We do that through effective storytelling. And if your website isn't doing that, you're not connecting to your customers the way that they want to be spoken to.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, and you've got varying types of people that are going to be the audience that's going to appeal to, right? Because not everybody's going to want to, I think that there's a lot of value to how AI can be used to expedite processes and do a lot of those things. At the same time, for me, for writing for content, I tend to not want to use AI. It doesn't mean that I'm opposed to it, but it's just because I'm a writer and I want to do writing. So I think you're looking at both helping people that aren't able to find the words to express what they're trying to say, but you're also looking at people who are trying to move forward in a way that's going to be productive from a financial perspective and from a time perspective. Who are some of the people that you have talked to that know right off the bat? You don't have to say who they are or what their business is, but maybe just in general, like some examples of where that this is really going to move the needle forward for folks.
Well, I think in a lot of service-based businesses. And so we have people like chiropractors or plumbers or veterinarians or HVAC companies that are phenomenal at their craft, but they might lack that digital expertise to go and build out this website or go and convey a message that they want to do. And they are the ones who are better to stay, in what they're doing, just like I would not be a good veterinarian or I would not be a good electrician. However, I might be able to help them out with that latter component. And so those are some of the initial ones that we're reaching out to, and really the ones who want to connect with their customer base. And you believe it or not, but like even a pest control company on some level wants to connect with their customers, whether it is showing their value system or their mission or what they stand for. And that's really where we're transitioning, is customers are now aligning with brands that do good things, help serve other people, prioritize people over profits. And so it's kind of ties together all of what people are wanting to in today's marketplace.
Absolutely. And I mean, I can speak on the consumer side. Like, it's funny, but when you just said like the pest control. So, I mean, we had one year, this is funny, but isn't funny actually. We had an infiltration of yellow jackets, wasps. I don't remember the specific type, but I mean, they were all over the place and had never had the problem before. And there's a lot of levels to having somebody come work at that, right? Like, I care about my environment and I care about the plants on the property and the other animals that are going to be on the property. So I didn't want somebody who was just going to come in and say like, well, this is what we're going to do and it's going to wipe them out and everything's going to be taken care of. But like, well, how are you going to do that? What are the steps you're going to take? So really talking through it. So like, I think that that's a perfect example, is that the consumer's caring about more than just the product that you have. They're caring about the whole big picture and all of the other factors that contribute to the situation. And so you do want to connect people with the brands. And what, you've got a certain gift for, obviously, for conversation, right? And that's why you're frequently, when we're at an in-person events, right, you're engaged in conversations with multiple people, and really that's part of what you do. And I think it's understanding the psychology of what makes people want to share and what makes people want to listen. And what is the background that drove you into that? You don't have to talk about, because obviously you had some negative circumstances with the circumvention and all of that type of stuff. But from a skills perspective, what do you think are some of the things that have really helped to contribute to why this is something that you're good at?
I don't know. I'm an empath. And I think it's because not only can I feel and listen to what people are saying, but I can feel it. And a lot of people can't create that feeling until they go through an experience themselves. And thankfully, I don't have to in order to really empathize and understand with other people. And in reality, people just want to be heard. Like we could do so much more if we just and listen to what other people have to say. And that goes into the component of whether people are asking for help, whether people just want to be excited and tell you about something, whether people just want to split an idea, and we're all in this just no, trying to like interject, interrupt, add on, provide value, like just listen. And I think that's really what's turned me into kind of wanting to build that into my daily life is I've just started to listen to what people want and then built up this Rolodex of business owners because I love to help people. Like, here's the thing. I work in a referral-based business, and I think that I can't expect myself to get referrals from other people if I'm not providing them myself. And in order for me to provide them for myself, I need to listen around to people in my environment for their needs and connect the two. And so it really just come down to like listening and wanting to provide honest value. I mean, I don't know where it's unfortunate that there's such a scarce mentality in a lot of things. And we're like, it has to be mine. It can be only be mine. And I can't let anyone else have it. And really, when you shift to having that abundance mentality, there's enough money in the world to go around for everyone. There's enough of everything. And if we really just focused on serving other people, helping one person daily, every day, we could really do a lot more. So simplistic and so basic. But thank you, Jen Gottlieb.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think, what you were talking about too within your daily life, because it is outside of just marketing. And, if you go to school for marketing, a lot of the different types of courses they teach you, like I know that I didn't go to school for marketing, but I have had friends who did, and they do some psychology classes and they do that stuff because it has to do with understanding how people think and what motivates them. And so reciprocally, I've noticed that the more I leaned into, over the past couple years, because I had always been doing what I'd been, well, not always, but for many years I've been doing what I've been doing as a consultant, but I hadn't really been marketing myself. I'd been more, hitting the pavement and having conversations. And the more you make yourself visible, which is necessary, because if you say like, well, I've got a message and I want to be able to help people, both because I want to be able to bring in income, but also because I want to help people, right? End of the day, want to help people. You have to become more visible on social media. And so you start to learn what are the things that are going to make people click on something, right? Once they've decided they are in alignment with you, they're more likely to click regardless of what hashtags or colors or things like that you use. But the initial, what is going to attract somebody and get them to kind of pause and click and say that I'm going to watch this. Yep. And when you do that, and when you really pay attention to those things, and when you're mindful of the way that you phrase things and the tone that you use, it does impact the relationships. You do start to think about that. Because if we are looking for whoever's going to read our media post to feed into us and tell us why we're worthy or why the business we have is good, ultimately we're probably not going to be successful, right? We've got to have that intrinsically. And that's the same thing that carries into our relationships. We can't interact with people looking for them to fill us up. Now they may, and positive feedback when we share it with people and receive it, it does bucket fill, right? That's a phrase they use a lot in schools. It does fill buckets, but you can't have that expectation when you're in a conversation. And it's the same thing as a business. When you're approaching your consumer, you can't be looking for them to be the identifying factor in what makes you worth it. You have to believe in what you're doing. And so you saying that like in your daily life, taking that time to really be aware and listen in those conversations and how that impacts the way that you communicate with people, that's powerful.
It is. It really is. And a lot of people find it funny. I'm the quiet one in conversations. And a lot of it is just because like, I want to hear what we can do, how we can help other people. And most people are telling you what's going on in their world. And it's amazing how often we're just like thinking about something else and it just goes right by us. And tying that back into, what you were saying in regards to businesses and connecting with their consumers, we're just in that phase. Every 5 to 7 years, if you go back through time, you'll notice websites and communication and just ways that we engage our customer shifts. And we have now gotten into this period where we want to connect. Customers want to connect with the brands. Brand loyalty is dying in the sense of customers are now going to connect with people who do the things that is important to them, that follow the same value systems that's important to them. It's no longer just that Nike's always been good and I'm going to do Nike. It is now like, I want to connect with the company that has that social impact. And that is why, as well, helping businesses understand their brand voice is probably the most important thing that any brand can do. And that's one of the biggest components that we do at Social Waste Strategies is we help businesses conduct a brand voice analysis. And it's helping them create their identity, resonating with their customers, and using a comprehensive voice brand analysis system to identify the gaps and opportunities to help them do that. Because most people aren't an expert on, crafting their brand voice. And we've had a really cool system where we ask a series of several questions, and it actually gets incorporated directly into their website. So then their website starts to share that mission and vision of who they are, because most people's websites just says, here's what I do. And it doesn't connect with the customers of why it's important to the doctor or the veterinarian or whoever. And that reason why is probably a similar reason to why your customers then want to connect with you and do business with you.
Yeah, I imagine in those conversations when you're doing that, a lot of times people are finding out things that are not necessarily unexpected, but new ways of looking at things, right? Like it's the why. When you keep asking the why, what do they say? 8 levels of why before you get down to where really the core of the matter is. And when you get to that piece and you bring that in, because that's where you're meeting with people. And again, that's the part that makes effective relationships, when you're carrying beyond the surface level conversation and you continue to lean into that type of conversation. So I imagine some of those conversations are like that, right? Where people are going like, oh, I never said it quite like that before.
It does. It really does. And it really helps just pull out a lot of the things that we might not think of. And we've just been really blessed to be able to find a really unique way to pull out the 9 different factors in that brand analysis. And it ties directly into our software. And really, it's because we are in a day and age where we want to connect with those customers. We want to connect with, and our customers want to connect with us, because our money is so important. And I think COVID taught us how important our time is. And really tying those 2 components of where we want to spend our time and our money is really where we've seen a massive shift in buying patterns from people, whether it is buying online now to going and just shopping from different stores, to people realizing their value and how much they should be paid for what they do.
Yeah, absolutely. And now you've traveled a lot recently. Well, maybe you've already traveled in the past too, and I just didn't know some of your past travels. But what are some of the things, I mean, it's interesting from a cultural perspective, different conversations and different phraseology and things and different, but what are some of the things that you've noted kind of run through all those? Like when you talk about that connection to what a company does and wanting that to resonate with you, right? When you're buying from a company, not just what their brand is, but what do they represent behind that? What are some of the things that matter to them? What are some of the similarities you've kind of noticed globally in terms of brand awareness with stuff like that?
Yeah, that's a good question. And I think I can add a little twist. I was blessed before we met and crossed paths, I was very blessed to take a lot of trips, and a lot of it tied into one of my other businesses that I had, and COVID was a bad year for travel. So that was the end of that 7-year stint. But within that, businesses, and I'm happy for it, because we're finally starting to turn the page on having a voice towards, equality, and that goes across the spectrum of race, gender, everything. Financial equality. We are having people turn on social responsibility. We're having people finally turn an ear to being eco-friendly and realizing that, like, hey, the profits are great, but if we destroy the thing that we're living on, we might have a bigger problem. And it's just like we're finally seeing companies either gain the courage, or the platform is out there and it's okay. I personally, I'm one of those people who I'm going to push against the streamline, and I'm going to say what's on my mind, and if it's cool or not cool, I'm going to do it. Because it's something I'm passionate about. But a lot of businesses and companies have to be careful, because their customers are the ones who are supporting them. And so we've gotten in this really place where companies can now be more substantial and supportive. And that's what if corporations are going to have a hand in their politics like they do, then they need to have a hand in our politics on doing and serving the people that represent them as customers. And a lot of that ties into these different types of, ethical, social, financial responsibilities of making sure people are well paid. We're taking care of our planet. We're, right. Being a servant of all the different people around us. Everyone's God's children, and so it's just like things like that. It's nice that companies are able to either start having a voice, and that's what I've seen a lot internationally too. And I went to Australia about 2 months ago, and it's just the synergy it's there. And it is where countries and people are wanting to put their time and effort. And that's represented now by their wallets and where they're spending their money.
Yeah, there it is, right? And again, because I think if you're going to be spending your money, there's things that we have to buy, right? So if we're going to be spending our money, we want to be mindful of doing it in a way that we're going to feel good about at the end of the day. And we're going to see that we're supporting something bigger. So whether it's an environmental cause or something else. And I think it's also being more informed. It's funny, but like you think about when we were, well, I'm older than you, but when I was a kid, right? How many ingredients didn't need to necessarily be included on every package, right? But like that's a perfect example. Now the ingredients are on the things that we're buying and where they came from and what the impact of that stuff is, so that we're able to make those informed choices. And because we're able to make those informed choices as companies, as brands, it becomes really important that you are well aware of what you represent, well aware of if it's a food product, what you're putting into it, what are the reasons behind that, and able to back up the messaging. So from a, overreaching perspective, it's really a very interesting time to watch from a marketing perspective how people are handling the fact that like you can't hide anything, right? It's like, well, I can't say you can't hide anything. I'm sure there are people hiding
There's
plenty,
always a
but
loophole there.
there are definitely layers being pulled back. And so you're seeing those things and you're being able to make those informed choices. And sometimes it's even tough because it's like, as a consumer, you'll see something and you're like, I've been buying that my whole life, but like, wow, I'm not so happy about that. And you have to make those tough choices. And so I think it's important for consumers too to realize what an integral part they play in informing the way things are going to go. Because if you continue to buy those products that are doing the things that you don't agree with, they're going to continue to do those things that you don't agree with.
Yes, and I think that point right there is one that we should double down on. And because I think consumers undervalue or underestimate the value of their dollar as well. I think they're realizing it, but they also undervalue it because we have got to still start continuing to shift where our money goes. I mean, God, I love my toaster strudels, but I know the insides of my toaster strudels do not love me. Like, we are putting chemicals in our body. And I think it's really important to just shift that from like, transparency is what companies have to do. We're in a country where it's not fully required to be transparent, but if you go overseas, like, it is blatant black and day what is in that food. And we've just got to stop cutting corners. And that ties into the whole component of greed, people over profits. If you take care of the people, the profits will come each time. And it really just ties into every facet of what we do, every business, whether it is the ingredients list to try and make something cheaper, whether it is to try and cut a corner and do a job quicker, whether it is whatever. If you just take care and do a quality job with a good intent, your customers will come, and especially now because that's where they're shifting their buying patterns.
Yeah, because cash is a vote, really. Cash is a vote for what matters. When you choose where you're spending your money, you're choosing what you value. And companies have to listen to that. And again, I think it's both, right? As consumers, I think the advice is to be informed and to make those choices wisely, even though it's tough. And the more we buy into those products that are supporting the things that matter to us, the more they're able to do it because they're getting the cash flow. And so then you're able to promote. And sometimes what happens is then the prices go down on some of those things. Like you think about organic, part of the reason that organic is so expensive is because of the fact that a lot of people don't want to buy it because it's expensive. If you start to shift towards, I'm going to make this choice, it starts to bring the price down and everybody wins, because you've got enough supporting it. So we really do speak volumes with what we spend money on, and we're able to make a lot of wise choices. And so I think we can both inform consumers and then advise companies to be part of that. And companies can speak that into consumers as well. If you're a company that's doing the right thing and is really trying to create social change in whichever particular avenue you choose, that's something you can be sharing with your consumers, is that, look, this is important for you to be paying attention to because this impacts your quality of life.
Absolutely.
Right. Ultimately for the long haul. So you just went to Australia. You seemed like you had a fantastic time there. That is on my list of places that I would like to go. Had you been there before? Or was that your first time?
No, that was my first time. And I wanted to kind of tie a mixture of business. And I went down there for a personal development event. And so I was like, why not? And Delta had a really good sale. That's what made that possible. But it was amazing. And I will tell everyone, I went over New Year's. It was as iconic as it seems. Sydney is a place they know how to do New Year's for sure. And the fireworks are just phenomenal. The people, I would have no problem living there. It is a very, very amazing place.
Yeah, my in-laws were just there. They enjoyed it as well and said it was fascinating. And obviously there's so many different parts of Australian culture, both in the city and then outside of the city. So you can only take in so much at once. They did say the food was very salty, which has to do with the climate there because it's very hot. So I think the salt is to help kind of keep that in check. But
it's way more intense. I did learn that because they're closer to the ozone hole down there. And so I got probably one of the worst burns of my life.
Yeah, because even when you're warned, right? I think like even when you're warned to watch out for the sun, you think you think you're taking care of it, and then as it hits in an hour later, when you see it start just on your skin, you're like, "Ah,
I think we
I
forget
was
that
not
elevation
taking as
goes
good
in
care
there.
as I thought.
Food, that all has a play. Uniquely though, and I do want to. There's a organization down there. I'm trying to think of the name that I did, network with and coordinate with, and just to give a shout out to them. It's shop.welcomecountry.com, and they are a local, basically company that helps promote products from the Aboriginal families in Australia, and all homemade products, kind of
Wow.
like small business component of really helping the local, just the native Australian culture and people have a voice, and they've got some really cool stuff. And they call ornaments baubles, which I just absolutely loved.
So what did you said?
Dot-
Shop.welcome.country?
yeah, so shop.welcometocountry.com. So
Welcometocountry.com.
here,
Okay.
yeah. But just a really
Yeah.
cool website that just has some really cool, kind of took on the component of what World by Dads wanted to do here in the U.S., but down in Australia. It was oddly a very unique connection that haphazardly happened, and it's just that's what basically a lot of things that have been happening to me lately is just getting the right people put in at the right time, and really, I've been asking and putting out to the universe just to have these good partners who really value people over money, people that want to help do more, want to make an impact. And it's just been weird that they've all just kind of come now at this time where I've been going through my own life craziness and needed to kind of realign and recenter what I want for myself. And it's been just unique and humbling to kind of see that.
Were you able to get that in the chat? Because I don't even know how that works.
Private chat here. So let me go copy, paste, and I think I need to go
Let's
comment.
see. Let's see if we can do this. Everybody's going to watch me try this for the first time. Shop.welcometocountry.com.
Okay, you connect my YouTube account. That's why.
All right, let's see if this works. Shop.welcometocountry.com. We're trying this. Is it showing up?
I need an HTTPS in front of it.
Yeah, well, it depends, right? I mean, I think a lot of them, if you just pop in the www, but it kind of defaults to the... But we've got that up there if anybody would like to check them out. That sounds great. I love to support small businesses. I love to support businesses in general. And I love that what you're doing is about helping people to both build their businesses from a financial perspective, right? Because in order to keep your business going, you need to have income. That's what sustains it. And help people to build their messages and connect with the consumer. And I think, again, in educating the consumer to be mindful of the businesses that they're buying stuff from and what they represent to make sure that they feel aligned with it. So a lot of great stuff. So what is, you just shared that. What is the best way for people to connect with you? What would you prefer people to, where would you prefer people to follow you? I can talk, I promise.
Sure. No worries. Well, there's one more thing too. One best way to contact me is either by cell phone or LinkedIn or email. I would say I prefer cell phone over email, but LinkedIn or my cell phone, and I have no problem. You can give that out. If I should just put it in the
Yeah, I mean, you can share whatever. I mean, I've never had anybody share their cell phone before, but I mean, if you feel comfortable doing that, go for it.
I mean, I have blocked for a reason. So, yeah. So, should I just say it or?
Yeah, go for it.
My cell phone is 619-878-0389. 619-878-0389. And then my LinkedIn here, I'll have Deb post a comment with that link. I think it's went to a different website because I wanted to pull up something for you guys while I was on here, and it left my LinkedIn. I just changed it to make it easier. I think it's Jonathan_A_I, but Jonathan AI hyphen would be the last part of my LinkedIn there.
Jonathan, okay, yeah. I don't normally type it out, but I'm gonna for you. Jonathan_AI.
There it is right there.
Where?
Under the private chat. Did it?
No, I'm not seeing anything.
Top right there. Do you have comments in private chat?
I have comments, but I don't see what you're saying. But here we go. Oh, I got it. All right.
Cool.
All
and
right.
Kind of tying this up before I let you go, one of the things that I really wanted to get out to just our network and our sphere and stuff is we've been within Social Wave Strategies. We wanted to help bring in the AI component to help people really just dial down in on their brand voice, get them the tools and solutions that they need to make things more streamlined, not go charge those insane agency fees where they don't really do much for you. We really have a mission and passion to help drive that ROI back into your business. And one of the biggest and most exciting things that I'm excited to announce is just our partnership with a company called Bot Builders. And what this company is doing is we can create these incredible hybrid AI chatbots with cunning technology that imagine you having a personalized, engaging interaction that leads, drives your leads, boosts your sales, streamlines all operations thanks to enhanced AI capabilities. And here's the best part is that we're offering the ability to help people create those tailored to your unique goals. So imagine if you as a coach, Deb, a lot of your time is probably spent prospecting clients. And it's not that talking to those clients isn't going to be beneficial for both of you, but at the same time, you guys have to make sure that you're a best fit for each other. And if people the chatbots that we're used to can't have a conversation like you and I are having previously, but they can now. And that really is going to help you save time and be able to dial in and, give your clients and customers the time that they need and deserve, and really help those other clients and customers maybe find a better solution if you guys aren't a fit. And so it's really cutting down just a lot of the lead time and stuff, and can really just help people streamline their business, and they can actually close sales for you if you'd like. So leading products that we have just to help customers out, because as you and I know, as individualpreneurs, there's only one of us, and there's only so much time in the day, and we want to help, we want to go save the world, but we can't do it if we're not, dialing out some of those tasks. So
sure, absolutely. Automate where it's appropriate to do so. Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. All right. And then, so we got your contact information, and you just shared with everybody about that cool feature. They can reach out to you about that. What is a final thought you'd like to share with everybody? Could be business related, personal related, anything, just some encouraging words, whatever strikes you right now.
I would like to challenge just everybody to go out there and listen one day for the next week and find out how you can do something for somebody else. Someone's going to tell you something they need, something that's going on in their life, something that they could use advice with, or a referral. Go out there and find and listen to what people are talking about, and see if you can provide or help make that happen. Because I think if we do a lot more listening, that we could really go out there and be more intently serve-based. And this is coming from someone who's given out tens of thousands of referrals. And it's really important to just, your friends and family are telling you what's going on in the world. There's got to be someone in your mind that who can maybe help them with that. You're just making the introduction and pass it off. But that introduction could mean so much to people like us and small business owners who are really trying to make an impact. So go out there and be intentional with your service, serve with purpose, and help one person every day.
I love it. That's fantastic. I appreciate you taking the time to speak today. I'm excited to hear about the continuing build that's going on here and all the good stuff. I'm sure I'll be seeing it on social media, and I'll catch up with you when we chat as well. So again, everybody, we appreciate you for joining. Those of you who've watched live, those of you who've watched the recorded version, if you want to reach out to Jonathan, please feel free to hit him on that information there, or you can connect with me and I can tee up an introduction to you. I hope that you all have a wonderful day.
Bye, guys. Thank you so much for the opportunity, Deb, and we'll see you guys around. God bless.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
We'll see ya.